Here is a list of common sources for the introduction of errors into our Hadoop cluster. These are in order of most common to least common. Misconfigurations. The largest set of errors to be introduced into Hadoop will come from misconfigurations. Cloudera stated in one of their presentations that misconfigurations made up over 35% of their troubleshooting tickets. Honestly, I was surprised it was that low. My guess would have been over 50% of our problems are a result of misconfigurations. Bugs. Bugs provide the next 25% of the troubleshooting tickets. These, today, you should be able to trap quickly, as the error messages should immediately match to an established bug. Early in the life of Hadoop, it was possible to discover new bugs, but I have not had that experience in recent years. The teams dedicated to supporting Hadoop have done an excellent job of bug identification, all part of the process of stabilizing Hadoop. System problems. System problems take up about 10% of the tickets. Most of these will root cause to resource exhaustion. Good resource management and good performance tuning will address this category. Hardware failure. Hardware failure makes up less than 2.5% of the troubleshooting tickets. I said that correctly. 2.5% of your issues will root cause to hardware failures. Thus, one lesson you can take from all this is that the most probable location for your error will be in your configuration files. This should motivate you to have very tight control over these files and to ensure maximum testing before releasing them into production. Let me offer some hints and tips and wise counsel regarding configuration files. Hadoop is solid code. It is well tested and it is well supported. Thus, the most common problem will root cause to an error in a configuration file. Let me repeat myself. The most common root cause resulting in errors will be mistakes in configuration files. So, let me share some hints. Regarding environmental variables. When it comes to environmental variables, go with the defaults. If you have to change an environmental variable, absolutely ensure you have the right environmental variable and the right setting. Be particularly cautious in changing the Java opt variables. I provided some examples during the course of this pipeline. XML parameters. Be meticulous in writing XML files. Use a tool such as XMLint for validation of large and complex files. I provided you some excellent examples throughout this course. Don't overload parameters in your XML files. Go for a minimalist approach. Only use what you have validated you do need. Look up the XML parameters on hadoop.apache.org and ensure you understand them. Do not just accept someone else's recommendation, even when it comes from me. Class path. Basic answer, don't mess with the Hadoop class path. If it needs to be changed, you should leave this for the developers. Finally, the issue about making changes to your configuration files. Even when making small changes, you must be in the habit of testing these changes in a test environment before you deploy them to production. Don't make a change and fly away expecting it all to be well. I promise, in time, you will be embarrassed. Overall, the error messages from Hadoop can be traced back to a meaningful root cause and then quickly resolved. But by this time, you probably have found that the error codes in the Hadoop ecosystem feel erratic and non-standardized. This is due to the wide number of Apache projects and the wider number of development teams. There is no standardized error code numbering or even a set format for error messages. I would hope in time this issue gets improved. While on this subject, let me bring forward another one of my lessons learned, the issue of generic error codes. There are generic error messages that do not directly point to a single root cause. They could be introduced by a range of different errors. The first step with a generic error message is to hunt the logs for additional errors. The second step is to follow the process, testing as we go. When you get generic error codes, be cautious about taking the first resolution you find when hunting for a diagnosis. Let me close with one small point. There are common error code standards. These are based on ISO, ANSI, and Open Group standards. Over the years, I've noticed significant improvement in error messages in the Hadoop ecosystem. Generally, if you are reading an error code with a number, it is written to this standard. For example, if you have an error code between 20,000 and 29,999, it is a fatal runtime error. You can learn more by looking up ISO ANSI functional specification for error codes. I encourage you to do this.